Hello again and welcome to Crime and Music. I'm your host, Brian J. Kinsley, and with me as always, my friend, Ben Rubel.
You in a pretty good mood today, Brian?
I'm feeling it, man. Do you want to have some fun?
I'm serious. You want to have some fun?
Do you want to have some fun?
I'm just saying I want to
Are
have
you
fun.
just saying you want to have fun? Well, if
saying
you'd like to have some fun, join us this week, as always, for another episode of Crime and Music. We track the life of a musician or people in and around the music business and their misadventures into law breaking and all the fun that comes with that.
It is fun to break the law. It's not fun to get caught, but it's fun to break the law.
Breaking the law is great. Getting caught, not so good.
Right.
This week we got another great episode for you. If you like the crime and music and murder and mystery and mayhem and all the things that come with celebrity and going off the rails, drugs and jewels and car races, and there's always a pistol that comes up somehow.
Yeah.
Check it out. Share with a friend. If you would share with a friend, if you know someone that likes these sort of things, shoot them your favorite episode. Go, hey, check out these guys.
And I want to let everybody know, probably by the time this airs, we're going to have that new website up.
Oh, new website's coming.
And it looked good. Brian was showing me a little clip of it here today. It looked great. Nice, clean, polished, user-friendly.
So fresh and so clean.
A couple more features to it. And I think everyone that's, been around for a little while can appreciate how much work goes into just making a simple website, much less one that has a little bit more dynamic features to it, like what Brian put together. So a little clap for Brian
thanks,
for
guys.
getting that all up and running.
I appreciate that.
We want you to have a fun, easy, enjoyable listening experience, and with as few hurdles to jump over to get to as possible. And Brian did it. He nailed it.
Right, thanks, man.
All right,
Well, check it
yeah.
out, crimeandmusic.com, and we'll go from there. We didn't fix the abrupt end of the intro music.
That's okay.
It's a
It
thing
lets us
now.
know it's time to guess the guest.
Time to guess the guest, everybody. If you haven't done this before, I'd give Ben a little, like a minute and a half to try and guess who's going to be on the show. If you read the title, you know, but he never does, so this is always new for him.
Yeah, well, you haven't said the title yet.
No, I haven't.
No, and I always get a little scared now too. This is my big part. I'm scared.
Well, you got a
I'm-
good record right now.
What am I at?
It
Wins,
looks like you're at
6 and 8?
six wins, 8 losses. So
Yeah, and a lot of those 8 losses, and this is great. This is fine. We're learning new things. I never heard these people.
super obscure.
Carlos Josuapo.
Gesualdo.
Gesualdo. Like a 15th century lyrical composer. Whatever.
I'm feeling pretty good for you. So if I was
All right.
if I was doing the books this week, I'd definitely bet on the over for you.
Okay,
So
good,
let's
good.
start it off. All right, everybody. Guess the guess this week, episode 24.
24.
A couple of nicknames because we like doing this. This should be easy.
Okay.
C.
C. Like, see ya.
Yeah, not C, like not Spanish for
C,
yes,
okay.
but the third letter in the alphabet in
All right,
from
C.
the left. C.
Sean Carter.
Ooh, I don't know who that is, but no.
All right, I'm not sure who it is either.
All right, I know Nick Carter, but
Lance Cotta.
this gives it away. Well, no, okay. Barney Gumbel's hero
Barney Gumbel's hero.
from The Simpsons. Barney Gumble.
Yeah, I got that.
Barney's hero. You're my hero.
No, I'm not as big of a Simpsons fan as you are, Brian. I've probably seen that episode 12 years ago.
Gotcha.
I'm guessing. All right.
This is kind of the giveaway here. Kraz.
Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
C. Kraz. Barney
Bing.
Gumbel's hero.
Bing Crosby.
Oh, I don't know if Bing Crosby did anything. Barney
Gumbel's hero. I'm gonna have to chalk one up on the L. Sorry
Seriously, you're right there.
David Crosby.
Yay!
Oh yeah,
David
Oh,
Crosby.
All right,
Very
I thought
good.
when I said that you were like, no.
Well,
not
you
that
said Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
guy.
and
All right,
it's
pulled
not.
that one out. That was
Right.
a drop
Hey,
third
good
strike,
for
and I got the
you.
base.
All right, here's our Barney clip.
David Crosby, you're my hero.
Oh, you like my music?
You're a musician?
There you go, everybody. David Crosby.
Okay,
Yeah. So
we've talked about CSN here.
Yes, CSN. That's why C, because he's the C in CSN. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and sometimes Young. Sometimes Y. But we're gonna talk about David Crosby.
And sometimes why?
If I was Neil Young, I would have a sometimes Y record, and sometimes Y, because sometimes. Okay, born August 14th, 1941. David Van Cortlandt Crosby in Los Angeles, California, USA.
Oh, he was a West Coast boy.
He was.
What year?
1941.
Okay. I like to put. I gotta get my mind back in the day back then.
He's
So
a 60s, 70s guy, you
Right,
know, like the
right.
music era.
he was when he first started having memories. It was still World War II was pretty fresh,
God.
right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
no,
The world is coming off of its second World War.
yeah, and that puts it into context because it was a very different time. We went from a very bad time to a very good time, with very little time between. So
Good
he was in that.
times.
He knew the war happened. Probably didn't get the effects of during the war as a child, but as he was growing up into adolescence, everybody was still talking about the war and the recovery effort all over the world, and he was part of that. That's where he was at.
That's how he grew up,
Yeah. Yep.
In time of great peace.
Yeah,
I
and
suppose, or-
prosperity.
Yep. He's got some parents. His mom, Aleph Van Cortlandt, Whitehead.
Aleph.
Aliph. Aleph.
Okay, never heard of that name before.
Nah, well, we'll get into the Cortlandts in a second. And Floyd Crosby was his dad.
I like the name Floyd.
Floyd's a good name. It's a solid name. Little family history. The Van Cortlandt family, the mom's side. Have you heard of them before?
No, it sounds like a rich people.
Oh, yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
They are rich people. They're a prominent Dutch family that created a political dynasty. Oh,
I told you. I pointed
you
at that on
did.
the
You
screen. I'm
pointed
like,
the edit bit.
you're like, that's fine. Don't worry
Well,
about
they're
that.
grayed out. Technical. It wouldn't be a technical issue or a show if we didn't have a technical issue.
So we're watching the screen. It kind of scrolls through as
You don't
we're
have
talking.
to go back through it.
We're gonna all relive this together, dude.
Oh, God.
And there's these two little bars, and I'm like, oh, these bars are coming up on your little computer screen here that shows all of our audio and the engineering part of it.
Yeah.
And just if you don't know this by now, I don't know anything about this crap. Brian puts this all together. He hits all the buttons on the computer and mixes it and engineers this as we go.
Oh, I'm an engineer.
And so when I point at these buttons, Brian just was like, "Pff, don't worry about that.
Woo,
Just miss
woo."
that." And then all of a sudden, I don't know if the audience gets to hear those.
Oh, they
two.
did, yeah.
All right.
Our mics just completely dropped for those eighths of a second.
All right. Back to Mr. Crosby's family,
All
the
right,
Dutch
no,
Reformed.
Yeah,
people.
the Van Cortlandt family. All right, this political dynasty. It's kind of like the Rothschilds. This family sent a bunch of their family members over to the New World to establish like business and banking and things like that. So they settled New York, basically. Like originally, it was Van Cortlandt Park and stuff like that, and the Van Cortlandt House Museum, and there's a bunch of streets and towns named Van Cortlandt.
So there's still that name's still a prominent
Oh,
name
yeah.
on the East Coast.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and then you got the dad side of the family, the Van. I want to pronounce it right. I guess Van is always the Dutch stuff. Van Rensselaers, Van Rensselaer family.
Is that where Van Halen came from?
Probably Dutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The Dutch are very organized folks.
sounds. I don't know much about the Dutch.
The Dutch are their yards are always mowed, their garage is always clean. The Dutch keep everything in a drawer. That's what they're known for, drawers
Dutch
and
drawers.
tulips and
Yeah,
tulips
Dutch tulips.
and wooden shoes.
Same deal with his dad's family. Another prominent Dutch family came to America, New York. They strategically married to the founders of the New World. They're one of the wealthiest families in the world still today.
Oh, this is David Crosby's
Parents.
parents.
Yeah, he's basically an unofficial aristocrat, like a little lord for those Game of Thrones fans.
Okay, and just you know who else with the Van Halen?
Yeah, you think?
Weren't his parents also well-to-do doctors
I
or
believe they
something?
were doctors.
Eddie
some of
Van
them.
Halen's
The
parents,
pharmaceuticals. That was Fish.
No,
Van Halen is doctors and stuff. I think medical.
It's interesting because a lot of times you think of these musicians and they're coming from pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, coming from poverty.
No,
Not all of them. Apparently not David Crosby.
I honestly think not at all. I think musicians are spoiled rich kids from wealthy families who have time to sit around. I'm working on my music, man.
I in my mind I think differently.
I'm with that.
All right.
So these are very influential families. You got people like John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He's one of them. Edith Wharton, she wrote Age of Innocence. That's the first woman ever to win a Pulitzer Prize. Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick, had wooden teeth. All of these people are part of these massive families. So they've got the influence.
Melville and Crosby are
related.
Related.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's weird.
David's dad, Floyd, was an Academy Award-winning cinematographer. He started out making flight training films for the U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Air Corps back then, because the Air Force wasn't around in World War II. And then he won a Golden Globe for his work on High Noon.
High Noon, is that an old cowboy western?
Old cowboy movie starring Gary Cooper.
High noon. It sounds cowboyish.
Super duper.
I want to be a cowboy.
Look like Gary Cooper.
Would you rather be a cowboy or a pirate? Like
Ooh,
seriously.
you know,
Neither they're very glamorous ideas today. We watch, Johnny Depp and John Wayne and whatever, but they probably were a lot of work to be either of them.
Do I want to deal with horse shit or stuff smelling like fish?
Yeah, that's the only difference.
I mean, for me, what's the annoyance factor? There's a lot of the ocean's terrifying. I mean, honestly,
100%, I'm going cowboy.
I would agree with cowboy.
Because when I'm done with you, I'm just like, screw you guys. I'm out of here. I'm going home.
And put you in the ground.
But when you're on a boat with everybody, you get mad at everybody.
You're stuck on the boat.
You're stuck on the boat. I don't like being on boats, stuck on boats today. I'll never go on a cruise.
Now I got scurvy. I'm never going on a cruise.
No.
Don't tell my wife.
Now, if I could be a cowboy that also got to sword fight,
Sword fighting cowboy.
yeah, I want to do that.
Would you go on a sword fighting cowboy cruise?
No. Not unless the boat stayed at one port. If I can get off the boat at any point, I'll go on a cruise.
Those are called islands.
Or those gambling barges that got landlocked on the Mississippi River in St. Louis.
I would do a riverboat gambling casino. I want to try that with the paddle wheel and the whole thing.
They don't leave anymore. They just float on the river. Sometimes in just like they dig a trough around the boat on the side of the river, and it's now the river.
Wow.
Yeah, old laws keep them having to do goofy stuff like that.
Guys, let me just speak to the executives. Let me talk to the $250,000 and above in paycheck.
Because we know that demographic's big
Listening to our show,
big
right.
part of the pie on this show.
You literally can't have record gains every year, okay? It's unsustainable, corporate America. You can't do it. It can't grow exponentially and have you keep the money that you made by growing your business. You see, there's a lack in the cycle there.
All right, and
I'm just saying.
I'm sure that'll help.
Get the message out to the people. So David's dad, Floyd, gets the Golden Globe for High Noon. Gary Cooper. He won an Academy Award for Taboo, A Story of the South Seas, 1931. Taboo. Childhood, David and his older brother Ethan grew up in California.
Yeah, Southern California, because they're in the movie industry.
Right.
Yeah.
They went to University Elementary in L.A.
That's probably where all the kids of the stars and
Kids of the
celebrities
stars go there. Crane County Day School in Montecito for a little while. David starred in a bunch of musicals there, notably the HMS Pinafore.
Yeah, what's that song?
It's
Mighty.
Wait, I know it again back to The Simpsons, the Sideshow Bob. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I am an animal and miserable and mineral. And then Bart keeps him singing as they go down the river, and they busted him. They're like, we're going to stop you earlier, but we want to hear the last song. My Chief Wiggum.
We didn't learn most of our history from, textbooks and teachers. It's all Looney Tunes and The Simpsons.
Looney Tunes and The Simpsons. My appreciation for classic music definitely comes from the Looney Tunes. I'll tell you that. I recognize so many things.
Hit the lights. Na, 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 na.
Tonight the lights will hit. On with the show, this is it. That's a Seinfeld bit, though.
Yeah. Okay, well, Seinfeld, Looney Tunes, and... Yeah.
It's all cyclical, man. It's all Tommy Lee Jones. Due to a lack of academic progress, David was asked not to return to the Crane Country Day School.
Oh, wow.
He finishes elementary and junior high in La Blanca School in Santa Barbara. He graduates high school by mail. He completed his secondary studies by correspondence at the Cate School. Basically, Cate, C-A-T-E, the Cate School.
This is like online GED bullshit.
Nowadays, yeah, but he literally had to fold it up, and lick the envelope, stick it in the mail, and hope my test gets there. David tries some drugs. He drinks some cough syrup and eats some Heavenly Blue Morning Glory seeds.
I don't know what that is, but that cough syrup thing
The cough syrup
is bigger now than ever in this world.
The scissor.
Scissor.
Check out Lil Wayne episode 3.
Yeah, that's what we call it here. So we've talked about what we get the Canadian codeine.
Codeine, baby.
They bring it over from Canada, and it's pretty cheap, and they mix it with Faygo Pop. Most if you can find pineapple Faygo Pop. That's
your Faygo Red Pop.
For all of our Michiganders, Faygo's Faygo's a pop. A soda.
Right.
Well,
Rock and Rye.
I just watched a thing about...
Owned by the Juggalo's dad, the ICP. Anyway, we'll get there.
There's a couple countries over in Africa that are having terrible times. I mean, they have bad things are going on in their country other than this, of course. A lot of it's just because they're all unemployed. And these dudes are just pounding cough syrup left and right. And that's their drug. That's their
Well,
That's
right?
where
I
we
mean,
have drugs here. We can all talk about drugs all day. We may.
There's a drug problem.
But they have it over there where the the people that are making it in South Africa don't want it to be imported over into these other countries, but it is. and in the roads, in the streets, it's illegal. You get in trouble for it, but what the hell? The roads are just littered with it. You can drive up and down the streets in the slums, which 80% of the country is unemployed, and the dudes are just guzzling cough syrup, little brown bottles.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that was such a thing. There are countries that are just plagued by that.
You tell me the most interesting things.
Oh, I'm glad I could help you, Brian.
I like it. I lived with the Prince of Botswana when I went to Central Michigan University for a semester and a half, and I didn't learn half the stuff I learned by sitting here with you.
He sent me an email the other day. He wants me to help get some money to me.
You laugh, but I'm dead serious. His name was Godfrey. Look into it.
The Prince of Botswana.
So apparently, you're drinking some cough syrup and you eat the heavenly blue morning glory seeds. You get a psychedelic high. You start seeing visions and stuff.
Did the guy look like Eddie Murphy?
Dude, true story. One day I just knock on the door and I open it up and straight up the guy from Eddie Murphy, like James Earl Jones, is standing there. Hello, is Godfrey here? And I'm like, no, he's not here right now. Would you like to wait? No, thank you. And he just turns around.
Arsenio Hall's like behind him with his head down.
He was wearing, there was like a fox on his shirt and stuff, and his wife was wearing a big green orange dress, and I'm like, what is happening? Because I knew I lived in the international dorms until they asked me to leave. Not the dorms, the whole university. But
Forced?
They said, you can either not come back or leave on your own. And I said, I'll just leave on my own, thanks. But yeah, I met all sorts of international people, but the Prince of Botswana was my roommate for a semester and a half. Tried to give me tuberculosis.
He tried to give it to you?
Yeah, he got tuberculosis, which is why there is a semester and a half.
Which is making out with you or something?
No, he just would touch doorknobs and cough on things like the TV remote and the phone. And so
he really was actively trying to.
No, he was not actively. I don't think he knew any better, but yeah.
Brian, change the channel.
Oh, why, Godfrey? Why? So anyway, David goes to Santa Barbara City College. He's done with high school. He gets his grades by mail.
Barely.
Right. He studies drama. Now, let's just refresh everybody's memory. How long did you go to college for?
And if you've listened to the episodes, about a week.
Yeah, you and David have something in common. He drops out, and then he's going to pursue his music, man.
Did he get a check in the mail that enabled him to go buy a keg of beer? That's why I dropped out.
He probably bought more cough syrup and heavenly blue seeds. So he's out gigging, right? Like he's like nuts to school. It's the time of the folk musician sort of thing. Hippies, peace, love, all that stuff. And
because about what year is this now?
Oh God, we got to be in the early 50s, early mid 50s, right?
No, he's born in 41.
41, so add 18
51,
to that.
Late 50s, early 60s.
Early 60s.
Okay.
There you go. He meets this folk singer, guy named Travis Edmondson.
Okay.
He gives David his first marijuana cigarette.
Ooh.
Well,
the devil's weed.
The devil's lettuce. Quote from David, I loved it from the very first.
Yeah, the marijuana is still very popular these days. It ain't like it used to be, though.
Oh, no. Well, it depends. Now, I live in and around Ann Arbor, so they're like 1 in 3 people smoke marijuana on the daily basis. I'm like, I can see it with these people. You just look around, like, yeah. Because here you don't know if it's a homeless millionaire. You have no idea. It's like really how it works.
You start thinking of those statistics, and you can break it down by demographic. And as everyone's out, and they're in Michigan, it's becoming more and more legal.
Well, it's recreationally legal now.
Yeah, in our country, it's becoming very, very much accepted.
Sure.
And it's always been around, man. I mean, it's always been pretty accepted, even when it was illegal. More than a lot of other quote unquote street drugs. But you said what, you said 1 in 3, or what was your?
Yeah, it's 1 in 3 from what we read around here.
So go to church, go to the mall, go to the library, and just pick out 1 out of 3 people, and you're looking at them, and you're like, oh, where are all the hippies at? No, there's grandmas, dads, teachers.
Everybody, man.
1 out of 3.
It's a thing. Now they're trying to do CBD infused like Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. They have like arrangements and stuff.
You can get the CBD oil at every Family Video.
Oh God.
Family Video's still a video store. You can go rent DVDs.
That's crazy.
And it's a fine video store, but it's called Family Video. They not only sell CBD oils, which is that doesn't get you high.
No.
it has some health effect, maybe.
Kids stop having seizures.
Yeah.
Old people feel better and moving and
That's
stuff.
wonderful. But they also have a top-notch porno section, like the old school go behind the curtain porno section.
Family video. For the whole family.
Hey, not a sponsor.
Even your creepy uncle. Good, thank you. Well, David doesn't have a family, so
What do you mean?
He leaves his family. He goes on the road. He's like, I mean, he's got his mom and his dad and his brother and stuff, but he's like, you know what? I'm gonna head out. I don't want to start my own family just yet. I'm gonna keep doing this music thing.
Yeah.
So he heads out to Chicago and he teams up with this jazz soul folk guitarist.
Does he ever have any kids, Brian?
Oh, he does.
Okay.
He teams up with a guy named Terry Collier. You can look up Terry. He's got like 12 studio albums. He died of cancer in 2012.
Yeah.
But he was like a really good jazz type of folky guitarist type of guy. Anyway, before Terry dies, they head out to New York City.
New York City?
Yup, gonna be part of the Greenwich Village scene. That lower Manhattan bohemian sort of rich people's kids again
Yeah.
thing.
Not exactly the Haight-Ashbury side.
No, not yet.
But similar. It's with the free thinkers.
Right.
Yeah, Greenwich. Yeah, the Village.
Well, they hit the Village, but the U.S. in the early 60s wasn't really ready for a black-white music duo. Like Hall & Oates just going to come around in the 80s, but in the 60s, you got to wait.
You can't do
So
that.
David and Terry split up, and David joins Les Baxter's Balladeers around 2000.
Sounds a little bit more white, huh?
Yeah, Les Baxter was this guy. He was a swing band guy, you know, and so
I've heard the name Les Baxter. Was he a studio musician for like a late night talk show or something?
no, but I think I know why you know him, because Les develops his own style of music, an easy listening genre called exotica, and I could see you getting into that.
I think Rush sang about them. Exotica,
So
neurotica. Whoa.
to modernize the swing act, Les would bring out these folk singers, and they'd do some singing, you know, and then back to the swing music, you know. You happy now, you hippies? I got your folk song. Now listen to my big band. So that's Les Baxter. David and his brother Ethan were both in the Balladeers. They did a whole national folk concert circuit and stuff and toured all around singing and stuff. And after a while, David, he kind of felt the group was getting a little too conservative for him, you know, because like, go tell it on the mountain.
Like many of our hard like, rock and roll.
Everywhere. Yeah, he's just like, that's not for me, man. He's like, I'm not really feeling that. So he splits off.
But wouldn't you say that the same time we were seeing groups come through that were all dressed up in the costume that would let parents let their kids come watch the show? They're all dressed up real nice. The
Family
Beatles,
show.
Yeah, the Beatles or even the Stones, where they had nice clothes. They weren't like hard rockers. They had a image, but their music maybe wasn't necessarily what their image was, because a lot of the words and stuff were double entendres and whatever. You know?
Yeah.
But then they all shed that. And so maybe David's at the same part where he's like, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to get back into a little bit more hardcore. Not
edgy.
Edgy, yeah.
Edgy. Well, David's a little edgy because David and an unidentified woman have a baby.
A baby.
Yep. They put it up for adoption.
Oh, well, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to get real with it here. The abortion issue.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, time to get political.
Woo,
no.
Buckle in, everybody.
So, I'm just going to say killing babies, for the most part, that's wrong.
Don't kill babies.
Don't kill babies. That's my whole entire... But I also don't want to tell people what they can and can't do with themselves. So, I'm anti-abortion, but I'm also kind of, in a way, pro-choice. I think I can be like that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Like, I wish all these people that were taking their energy to make things illegal funneled that energy and that money and that fervor to help people that may be in a situation you can never understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe, hey, I'll pay for everything and we'll put your kid up for abortion. We'll help you out through the whole way. Wouldn't that be good?
I don't know that you put kids up for abortion.
I mean, can we edit that, Brian?
Yeah.
No, put kids up for adoption. Sorry. Yes, not
right.
up for...
I think you are going to go in the abortion track, young Jimmy.
My kids, too. I don't really like them anymore. I'm going to put them up for abortion.
Put them up for abortion. See if anybody takes it. We got some takers. Some of these doctors out here looking to...
Walk into Planned Parenthood and you're like, I'd like to get an abortion. Oh, really? Well, where are you at? What trimester are you in?
You look like you're in first
The
trimester.
12th. I'm in my 12th trimester.
18th. Kid's like 6.
Can I have this kid aborted, please?
We gotta go. We'd put him. All right. So that was so tragic. Let's not even
All
touch
right.
around that. We'll go on.
No, that's not.
David does not have an abortion. He puts the kid up for adoption.
Be,
A boy named James Raymond.
They
believe
named
me,
him?
That'll come back around.
They named him?
No, I'm just letting you know. His name is James Raymond. And,
Oh, okay.
We're not done with James yet. 1964, David joins the Jet Set. That was a band. It's called the Jet Set.
Oh, he's been bebopping around all
Yeah.
sorts of different bands.
You got Roger McGuinn, the front man in the Jet Set, and Gene Clark. And then they picked up this guy, Michael Clark. Not Michael Clark Duncan, but Michael Clark. He's a drummer. And David was their struggling bass player. He's like, I guess I'll play bass, you know.
And again, here, shout out to all of our bass players.
There it was. Okay, the shout out to the band. Thankfully for David, this dude Chris Hillman, a proper bass player, joins the band, and then they boot David over to rhythm guitar, and then that's how the Byrds were born. Heard the song "The Byrds"? The band, the Byrds.
The band, the Byrds.
Yeah, the band, the
Not
Byrds.
the song,
Not the song, the
Yeah,
band.
the Byrds.
The Byrds.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the Byrds, 1965, they record a version of Bob Dylan's song "Mr. Tambourine Man."
That's probably one of the more
Mr.
popular ones,
Tambourine
isn't it?
Man, play a song or two.
Yeah, that's the one everybody
In
thinks
your
about.
jingle jangle. Yeah, I always think of William Shatner. Mr. Tambourine Man!
I don't think of William Shatner that often at all.
Right. Leonard Nimoy also did a version of that song, so you can have Spock and Kirk singing you Mr. Tambourine Man.
I wish Leonard Nimoy did something bad. We could do an episode on him.
We could.
If you go back to a few of our first audio, we couldn't stop talking about Star Trek.
It's good. The
Still Riker.
The Henry Ford Museum has a Star Trek exhibit going on right now. My
Still
wife just
Riker
took the little
over
kids
Spock.
at her school there. You should go. Commander Riker is my true princess. I couldn't get it out. Okay, so this Mr. Tambourine Man reversion hits #1 on the U.S. and the U.K. charts. And the Byrds find their groove, man, and David starts finding his way as a songwriter.
Now he's probably at this point making more than just a living with the Byrds.
Yeah, he's a professional now at this point, I would say.
Well, he's in a band that's making money.
Well, 1967 comes along. David's written and helped write a bunch of the hits for the Byrds and some other bands. He's got writing songs. What does that say? Oh, he's got writing credits. There's issues with songs being dropped on the Byrds, and like they're like, "Well, I wrote this song," and then the other guy like McGinn's like, "Well, I wrote this song," and then David's like, "You guys are dumb," and so he's not super happy about being in the Byrds right now.
So they're fighting over who wrote the song?
Yeah, it's all about writing credits.
So the writing credits maybe brings in a little bit more coin.
It does.
Or notoriety or both.
Well, here's some notoriety, because June 67, they're at the Monterrey Pop Festival. The
Back in
Byrds.
California.
Yeah. Between songs, David would start talking all political, though. Like, they play a song, they play Mr. Tambourine Man, and then, apparently he's like, the JFK assassination, I don't know if that's really as clean cut as we think it is, people. He's like, you ever think about that? Here's our next song. And then, they play a song, and then, now remember, the JFK assassination was only 4 years earlier. It's not like it was 20, 40 years ago.
You could still say that today.
So, right, well, that's what he's doing. He's like, see, second shooter theory seems pretty good. There's a puff of smoke over in the grassy knoll. What about the lady with the babushka? What about the lady with the babushka? She never turns around.
And
Here's another song.
Did he start him and who was Jane Fonda start going on tour together?
You're right. Now the next day, David fills in for Neil Young on a Buffalo Springfield gig.
Okay,
right?
There's the tie.
So
There's the
Stephen
tie-in.
Stills asked David. He's like, "Hey man, Neil Young. Sometimes why? He's not coming. So you want to come play with it?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So March 1968, David leaves the Byrds. He was at a house party at Mama Cass's house in California. Mama's and the Papas.
Mm-hmm.
Mama Ca-
Was that the house? Was it the apartment she died in?
No, that was in London.
Oh, okay.
And no, this is. Oh no, that's right. That was in New York City. I had to rethink about it because that was with the Sid Vicious thing. I believe. Right.
Yeah, the same
So,
place.
No, they're at a house party at Mama Cass's in California, and he meets Stephen Stills, this other hippie just sitting there, and then Graham Nash of the Hollies, that's a British folk group, he was there too, and so they put together CSN, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, sitting at Mama Cass's party.
All right, that was the moment. That was in the inception.
Like, hey, you, me, hey, let's do this. So they go play at Woodstock, August 1969. That was their second gig together ever.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup. Their first album, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, was an instant hit. Had 2 top 10 singles, Marrakesh Express and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes.
Those are great songs still today.
Do you know we're riding on a Marrakesh Express?
You know, you're thinking the same
Do
group.
you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? It's taking me to Marrakesh.
That was a song, wasn't it? I'm sorry to bring him up. I know you're salty about it.
1969, Neil Young joins the band. So now you got CSN and Y. Unrelated. Days after moving to L.A. together, David's longtime girlfriend gets killed in a car accident.
Ooh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Not the one he had the baby with?
No, that was an unidentified woman.
Oh, okay.
This is his girlfriend. I had her name, but it's gone because she died.
Yeah, that's sad.
David's devastated, starts hitting the drugs and alcohol harder than ever in the 60s. That's pretty hard. So he starts snorting heroin that day.
Snorting heroin?
Yeah, he starts snorting heroin.
All right, wait, I'm not messing around with no spoon and needle. Just give it to me.
We'll get there. December, David plays with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young at the Altamont Free Concert.
We heard something about that in an earlier podcast.
A little bit. Check it
Yeah.
out, guys. Steven Stills takes a bunch of bike spokes to the leg. David played at the Monterrey Pop Festival, he played at Woodstock, and he played at Altamont all in 1 year.
So the Monterey Pop Festival is the thing that stopped them from Altamont from being in San Diego, or no, in San Francisco.
It was San Jose State, but no, I don't think that was the Monterey Pop Festival necessarily. That was just at the same time, sort of, in California.
Wasn't that the one that like 80,000 people showed up to, and they had 50 bands?
It wasn't the Monterey Pop Festival.
Oh, that
was
wasn't the
just,
same thing.
just
Okay.
a random
All right.
San
All
Jose festival. But no, the Monterey Pop Festival is the other biggest there are 3 major concerts in music history, and it's Woodstock, Monterey, and Altamont.
And he was at every one.
He was at every one
I'd claim
in the same year.
Full credit.
Dude's high profile now, so he doesn't need that college degree.
He's smelled every hippie on earth at this point.
Oh, that's probably true. There's a lot of dirt.
A lot of hippies
lot of
smelling
skin
them.
cells. And
Yep.
that was before dreads, thankfully. 1969. There you go. David's driving home from the studio, finishing Joni Mitchell's first album. Cops pull him over. They claim they saw David smoking pot when he drove past him, because
Yeah.
they passed on a highway. They're like, hey, he's smoking weed.
He
Cops
probably was.
Cops search his car, find a kilo of weed and a loaded pistol.
A kilo?
A kilogram of weed.
I wish we could just standardize all these measurements.
They do. That's what the ones would be. It would be the metric system and kilograms and stuff.
I wish we learned all that stuff back in high school.
Yeah.
I don't. Is this a kilo? Is this like in my hands? Is that enough? Or is it more like a loaf of bread? Or is it more like a couch size of weed?
Need a triple beam, and I don't know. I can't tell you without doing the scales.
So he's got a bag of weed, a big bag of weed.
Yep,
I
and a
think.
pistol.
And a pistola.
Pistola.
It was at a 22 long barrel.
Colt 45.
I can dig that.
David's lawyer quickly dismisses the charges due to illegal search. David carries a loaded pistol everywhere he goes.
Well, good. I bet he's a big NRA fan.
He is, actually, and he speaks
No
out
way.
for them. We'll
Are you
get
serious?
there. Yep.
Huh.
1971, David releases his first solo album, If I Could Only Remember My Name.
Appropriate.
You got guest spots by Nash, Young, Joni Mitchell, the guys from Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead, and Santana.
So would they just do this backstage at like one of their concerts?
Yeah, probably. Just hook it up there.
I was never a big Joni Mitchell fan. There are a lot of Joni Mitchell albums growing up in my house.
Pave paradise and put up a parking lot.
But that's not Joni Mitchell,
Isn't
was it?
I think it is. I think Joni Mitchell's paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Oh, I don't know.
I believe the Counting Crows did a version of that song.
Okay, that's well. I don't know. It was just too soft.
Yeah, this is very folksy, lovey
yeah.
hippie music, 2010 list of best albums by the Vatican's official newspaper, L'Osservatore Romano.
The Vatican piped in on the top 10 albums.
Yeah, yep.
Good.
If I Could Only Remember My Name is it's second only to the Beatles' 1966 Revolver album, according to the Vatican.
Do they still do that? Can I get a list from what the Vatican thinks is good these days?
2010. A 2010 list of the best albums. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's up to date.
Is this what the Pope is spinning on his record player?
He gets gold pressed records that they put on. And 1973, CSN and Y have been focusing on their solo careers, each of them for a little bit, but they reunite for some unsuccessful studio sessions.
See, I think that's great. And people get, I think if you have a group like the Beatles of today, whomever that might be, I don't know, the Jonas Brothers, I don't know, whatever.
One Direction.
And they all start going in different directions. and then people get mad about that, like bands kind of breaking up.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, New Kids on the Block, whatever. And then they can all come back together.
Pretty sure he wasn't in New Kids on the Block.
No, I was just using that as
yeah.
And then they can come back together and have an even bigger band. It's kind of like what the Avengers do.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is. It's a Marvel movie. Go ahead.
No, I hit the spring on the
okay.
mic
It's
stand,
like,
and I could hear it humming. I don't think anybody else could.
I thought you wanted to play it like an instrument. Like, man, do it. The didgeridoo don't. All right, so that sets them up, though, because they tried to get back together. That sets them up for a hugely successful stadium tour in the summer of '74. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. They're like, we can't do a studio album, but I'll play live with you.
Yeah.
After the tour, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young tried to make another studio album called Human Highway. These sessions were very unpleasant. Constant bickering, David's blasting the drugs, and eventually they just canceled the album. They're just like, we're not doing it. So out there somewhere are some tracks on an album called Human Highway for CSN and Y that no one's ever heard.
Well,
I'm sure they used them all in their personal solo
Human
albums.
Highway is a song that Neil Young has on one of his albums.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
Neil Young is I'm a fan. Pretty big fan of Neil Young. I like a lot of his stuff. I've learned probably only because I can play a lot of his stuff.
it's so basic.
Yeah, right. But I think he's a nice guy. I'm going to go with that. I think he's Canadian, so he has to be.
Might be.
Yeah.
Hey.
So I like him, but I think he was difficult to get along with.
Long may you run. Long may you run. Oh, God. Everybody who learns how to play the guitar loves Neil Young. And then they get that harmonica going, that seesaw breathe. Hey, 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 I'm Neil Young.
Brian gets so salty about things sometimes.
That's part of the show. This is what people tune in for. Tune up my freaking rants. I've decided that. I'll just steer into it now.
So,
God.
how many Neil Young songs were in your set lists back in the day?
Oh, I'm 30. I mean, every band I did the numbers. I was in like 13 bands over, like 30 years. And I've played Neil Young in every goddamn one of them.
How do you really feel about Neil Young, Brian?
Love Neil Young. He's great. That's awesome. Sometimes why? All right. So basically, the band splits up, but they break into two separate duos. You got Crosby and Nash and Stills and Young.
I heard. Yeah, I guess I'm now putting it together. Yeah, sure. I've heard that. I've heard those in their own little subset categories.
So that goes out in '76. They're working on an attempt to redo that lost album one more time. No, Stephen Stills and Neil delete David and Graham's vocals off of Long May You Run. They're like, oh, we'll put that out under us. We'll just take these off.
No way.
This is our
That
song.
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Now they're throwing down the gauntlet, baby. I'll just take your vocals off.
That's they're gonna get into war.
Due to snorting cocaine daily for the past 10 years, David apparently had about $1,000 a day cocaine habit.
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine what the quantity would be. Like, what's the metric mass of $1,000 of cocaine?
Like this much?
Like a small handful, like a
like
palm,
a snowball size?
Yeah, there you go, like a snowball. Oh, that's funny. David's got a perforated septum.
Yeah, just keep sandblasting
So
that shit.
if you've ever seen that, it's where a guy can stick a Kleenex up one nostril and pull it out the other and floss his nose.
Ugh.
So now David starts dropping cocaine into liquids. And then that's not really good enough for him, so he starts freebasing it. So I had to look this up on the internet. You make a base for smoking it. How do you smoke cocaine, Ben?
I would say in weed or tobacco.
No, it's crack. He's making crack, basically.
Oh.
he was like kind of on the edge of making crack.
Did you have to process cocaine? Didn't you have to wash it to make it stronger or something?
He's got a bag of cocaine, and he somehow, it says, make a base for smoking it. Like it wasn't a liquid. It was kind of like the powder, but then he had to get it to where he could burn it. So he's making crack, dude.
Okay.
David's smoking an-
revolutionary.
Gets smoking an ounce a day and or of crack, $1,000 or whatever, and
JC, that's a lot.
just blasting. So right now,
I say it's a lot. I don't know if it's
we're
a lot. I don't know.
we're about to close out the 70s here and get in the 80s. I think it's a good time to take a little break.
I'm gonna go invent a new drug real quick.
Go sandblast.
What can I do? What drugs do we have I can use to make a new drug? He did cocaine into crack.
We can
Crack is whack.
purify beer that we have. We can.
That's called liquor.
Oh, well, they have that.
Let's purify liquor.
Can we smoke liquor?
Can we
somehow?
just mix it with some other drugs?
I think we can just put the cocaine in the liquor and drink it.
All right. Or hey, mushrooms are coming back. You want to start trying to find out how to make those better?
Once we move to Washington, we'll do that.
All right, we're gonna do that on break.
All right, guys, this is the break. Check it out. We'll be back in a minute. Enjoy. And we're back.
I just got back from Washington to figure out the mushroom scene over there.
Did you get us a bag of mushrooms?
I'm rendering them down. I'm mixing them with some other drugs, and I'm going to turn them into something that you just rub on your skin like a lotion.
These are portobellos, dude. We don't need these. We need the other ones.
No, I'm just going to I want a drug where I can just rub it in like lotion. So A, I can get high, B, eczema, out the door.
They have that. It's called CBD. We talked about it.
It doesn't
in the
get you high
podcast.
enough. It doesn't.
I'm sure they could mix it in a way where you get the CBD and the THC.
Well, it's the CBD oils, they purposefully
Extract the THC.
make it so you can
Yeah.
use it without getting high, and you can pass all your drug tests and all that stuff.
This is a class on a corner of any street out there if you want to go. There's like like telephone poles lined with all these things about CBD and
That's
THC.
what my sister was
and
doing for
all that
years.
stuff.
She was making the juice.
The Simpson oil.
No, it was you drink it,
Oh.
and she used only parts of the plants that were very low in THC, but high in CBDs, and she made these juices for people, and not people that were looking to get high, but people with, But I don't want to do that. My oil you're gonna put it on. You're gonna wake up the next morning, not remember what you did, and your itchies are gonna be gone.
It's your Ben oil.
Ben oil.
I feel like there's just some alchemy going on nowadays, man.
Alchemy?
Straight up alchemy. It's not science. People are just like rubbing shit on themselves and like mixing it with this. We got the coke
Licking
and the
toads.
psychedelic mushrooms. You squeeze that together and then you rub it on your skin. And
You smell like a botanical garden. Your itches are gone, and you don't remember what happened for a day and a half.
how many people were out there licking toads too? Like, how would you discover that that's a thing unless you were just licking toads? Like what?
Well, maybe somebody was hungry and they ate a toad and got high.
Freaked. Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Whoa.
Let's eat another toad. And then they ran out of toads. They had one toad left, and they're just like, I'm just going to lick it. See what happens.
Yeah.
And it worked. Next thing you know, that dude was like, I don't have to kill the toad. I can just lick a toad.
Like the toads.
So he just keeps that toad in his purse, and, he's on the bus going to his next job interview, and just is like, fuck, I'm going to lick this toad. Licks the toad.
Now you got to care for a toad. There's all this toad care.
Listen, if people can carry dogs and cats around in their purse, toads, not a problem.
Probably have a toad.
Yeah.
Well, David gets into some heavy drugs. I don't know if he licked any toads, but we're in the late 70s and we're going to start cracking into the 80s here. David gets a lot of jobs. He's a very in-demand session musician. Like someone's going to release an album, Joni Mitchell or some of the Beach Boys, and they're like, hey, let's bring in David Crosby for some backup vocals or play guitar or something.
And then he put his name on it.
Right.
That helps.
Yeah, he works with Joni Mitchell, Jackson Browne, James Taylor, Art Garfunkel, Elton John. Does a lot of work with Phil Collins in the 80s. Eventually, he does a thing with the Indigo Girls.
Wow.
But yeah, he's in the studio, man. He's a good vocalist. That's
and that's
for darn true.
easy.
Yeah.
That's
easy
to
work.
do.
It's like this. Like you show up, I turn on the microphones, and you start breathing, and
Yeah.
people are like, hey.
Yeah, and make money though.
1980, while recording with Graham Nash, David's crack pipe falls off his guitar amp. Don't you hate that when that happens? They should make like a holder, like a crack stands, or like a pipe buddy or something, like clip it on there.
Can't you put it around your neck like a?
Well, it's hot though. You don't want to have a crack pipe
Yeah,
around your neck.
yeah,
That'd burn you. So it falls off and it breaks. And David stops the recording session. Hey, whoa, guys, my crack pipe broke. And so he literally sits there and starts fixing it right in the recording studio. It's thousands of dollars a minute, and he's like, give me a second.
If he was a true hippie, he'd have hollowed out a potato or an apple.
Yeah, right? You got like a cucumber you can do something with? There's some
Marijuana.
tinfoil? What do you need?
Marijuana doesn't lead to more drugs. It leads to carpentry.
Let's get here, MacGyver. Come on. So Graham Nash finally had enough. He's told David he wasn't working with him ever again. Quote, "We don't want to work with you anymore. You're out."
That was his quote.
Quote.
All right, you're gone. Take your broken crack pipe and hit the road.
Oh, he fixed it.
Take your somewhat taped together broken crack pipe.
And go. This is long before the days of Gorilla Glue. I mean, what do you do?
Maybe crack and Gorilla Glue mixed together would be really good.
That would be good. So do not, this is so stupid. This is a stupid PSA, but do not use Gorilla Glue to fix your crack pipes, everybody.
Why? Why are you saying that? Maybe do that.
No, unless it's 100% organic horse glue. You're going to be sucking in some type of vapor from that glue every time you heat up that crack pipe.
You're worried about the glue vapor over the crack
Yes,
vapor?
I am. Okay, no, crack's not natural. I was going to be like, crack is a natural substance.
Everything on this earth is natural.
Well, everything's man-made, but, well, okay, man-made or natural. Two options.
It's natural.
So David's devastated. I mean,
his crack pipe?
No, yes, that really upset him. But Graham Nash kicking him out. And he's not like stopping crack devastated, but he's definitely bummed out.
That was the last one of the CSN guys that liked him.
Yeah, well, the most patient probably. It's okay, David's just going through a hard time.
The biggest pussy in the group.
So,
Graham, can't get rid of this
did you
guy.
just call Graham Nash a pussy?
The biggest one. I called them all pussies.
That's probably true. But the folk musicians, they're not going to be aggressive people. Fucking put your crack pipe away. Let's do this shit. God, David, come on. Get your head out of your ass.
Pulling a gun out. Even though David had a gun?
Yeah, right? Yeah, you can't do the Phil Spector and pull a gun out of 1, 2, 3, 4, play it. It's like, got my Colt 45. I don't want to play. I'm going to fix my crack pipe. David starts smoking heroin and stuff called Persian Brown.
Persian Browne. I think I knew a woman named Persian Browne one time.
Well, maybe. Jerry Garcia turned him on to the Persian Brown.
What is Persian Browne?
I have no idea. I assume it's heroin.
Okay. Well, they said heroin and Persian Browne.
But because of this, and thanks to Jerry Garcia, David gets over his lifelong fear of needles.
Well, thank God. Something good coming out of it.
Right? I'm not afraid of needles anymore, guys.
In fact, I can't wait to see the next
I'll
one.
do it again. 1981, during a tour, David has his first drug-related seizure. He's doing drugs with his girlfriend, Jan Dance. She sticks around for a long time.
In 81.
81.
Okay.
Starts flopping around on the floor. It's called a grand mal seizure for you medicals out there. Starts flopping around on the floor. He bites his tongue so much so that blood starts squirting out of his mouth.
That's why you put a wallet in their mouth.
Yeah, you're supposed to jam a wallet in your mouth. Now, see, I always thought, my brain, is you fake a seizure, someone sticks their wallet in your mouth, you get up and run away. You're like, free wallet. You gave it to me, officer.
Free wallet.
So he's spraying blood everywhere. Jan's like, oh my God! David's friend, a guy named Phil Holbart, helps him out and puts him in the recovery position, as we've talked about many times.
We all know what that is.
Right, gets him through it. The very next night, they're out playing another show. Jan has a seizure. David's like, oh my God! But not still enough to where they stop doing drugs and stuff.
Well, drugs are tough to get rid of.
Drugs are hard.
Drugs are difficult.
Drugs are hard. Some of David's friends get together a bunch of money. Graham Nash, pussy extraordinaire, according to Ben. He puts down $3,500 to get David and Jan into rehab at Scripps Hospital in Carlsbad, California.
They had money. It wasn't about the money.
Yeah, well, don't tell your boy Graham Nash that. He thinks he's helping.
Well, he was probably trying to help. Probably didn't know how to do it. You got to have an intervention.
Now I can just anytime I see Graham Nash, I picture Ned Flanders. Oakley dokley, David, we're going to get you right as rain.
Graham Nash is the Ned Flanders of CSN.
And why? What's his name? David and Jan, they go to rehab for
a day or two?
One night. They leave. Graham Nash never gets his $3,500 back.
Yeah, well, they would have stayed if there were more drugs.
There's no drugs there. I don't want to be here.
Hey, what's the drug name that you take to get off other drugs? Not meth.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Isn't it worse than heroin, though?
No.
Methadone?
Well, methadone.
Yeah. Because you can get off heroin. From everything I've researched, I've never done heroin. You can get off heroin. You'll have a rough couple of weeks. But when they put you on methadone, you can't get off methadone. You will die, as per my mother-in-law, who is a doctorate of nursing, told me. She's like, no, you can't stop taking methadone.
But it doesn't have as many ill effects on your body or something.
Right. It's not as
So
draining.
it's like frying pan burner sort of thing.
I'd rather go through the withdrawals, man.
I'm just not going to do drugs.
Pretty much. That's just-
I can't even.
except your legal alcohol and caffeine and sugar. Those
Right.
are
All the
way more
the
addictive
socially
than
acceptable drugs that I
right.
can get at Kroger.
the things that the government has legislated makes money off of.
Until Kroger sells all the other drugs, I'm not going to do them. They do have a pharmacy, though. All right.
Big pharmacy at Kroger. 1982, David's heading to San Diego to perform at an anti-nuclear rally.
Anti-nuclear.
Nuclear.
Nuclear?
Nuclear, not nuclear.
So, just sidebar. All the hippies now, all the tree huggers and the world savers and everything,
Pushing nuclear power.
they're pushing nuclear power.
It's safe for Mother Earth. Outside of Chernobyl and Fukushima and
There's new ones. I think we've already talked about
a little
this.
bit.
All right.
So David's going to San Diego to protest the nuke building facilities. And they're like, I don't, we're against nukes and probably bombs too.
Maybe it was a bomb thing. I'm against that. We don't need.
Yeah, this would have been Cold War, Russia.
Yeah,
stuff like
we
that.
don't need as many nuclear bombs as we have on this earth.
Well, here's the thing. David's got a bunch of coke in his system, and he thinks it's a good idea to drive himself to San Diego.
I don't think that's a problem. I mean, I don't know a lot about cocaine, but I think people that are on cocaine rarely have a problem driving.
I wonder how many businesses he started while
For
he was driving.
Billions and billions of miles.
Driving around, you know what we should do here? There need to be a drive-through right here. 90 minutes into the trip, David has another seizure.
Now, maybe it is a problem.
There's your issue with doing coke and driving. He has another grand mal seizure. Takes out 100 yards of guardrails / crash fencing. Smashes into the center divider.
Did you get hurt?
Not really, no. The arresting officers find drug paraphernalia. He's got his pipe and his torch. Cocaine, crack, and a loaded .45 Colt automatic pistol.
I bet they pull up to that crash scene and he's, the car's just totaled, flipped 2 or 3 times. And there he is in the front seat when they come up to the window, like rushing up to the window, paramedics and stuff in behind him, lights going on. He's just there with his crack pipe going, shh, shh, officer, can I help you?
Guys, they're a problem officer. The arresting officers also give him a DUI charge. David gets 3 years probation. And 2 weeks later, April 13th, 1982, in Dallas, Texas, David's sitting cross-legged on the floor of his dressing room before a show at Cardi's nightclub, sucking cocaine vapors and packing his Colt 45.
Cardi B's nightclub?
The gun. The cops bust in. David, trouble again. He's convicted and sentenced to 5 years, but it's overturned. David is free on an appeal bond.
Wow. He's kind of gotten out scot-free in these drug charges.
Well, we're kind of going back to the I got lawyers and money, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't explicitly say that in my research, but a lot of it's like, and the charges were dismissed.
You find that one little thing the cop did wrong, takes care of everything.
While out in bond in Texas, David goes to San Rafael, California. While there, David is popped for erratically driving his motorcycle.
I'm wondering if the cops don't sort of talk a little bit like, hey, I just busted David last week and I couldn't really get him, up on all the charges. He's coming to your town next week. Just wait for him. He's gonna have drugs.
He's driving with a revoked license, drug possession, and possession of a handgun.
Oh, let me guess. 45?
45. He's got the one. David goes to Fair Oaks Hospital in Summit, New Jersey to kick the cocaine habit.
So on his own accord this time.
Seems to be like maybe part of a plea deal behind the scenes, but like, look, man, you can't keep getting busted for this.
And he doesn't want to keep getting busted.
Right.
And he's probably down that path so far where it ain't fun anymore. It's just maintaining.
Right.
And he wants to be done with that.
Just get out of it.
Yeah.
Break the cycle. David's chilling in New Jersey, but there's a problem.
Not enough drugs.
Well, not that there's no drugs, but they won't let him play his music or listen to records.
Oh, while on rehab?
Yeah.
That seems wrong.
7 weeks, David, without permission, leaves, escapes, and gets loaded the second he gets out. Jan helped him. Jan helped him get out. His girlfriend at the time.
Probably helped him with a big pile of drugs.
David tried 6 different rehab facilities over the months. He quits them all. He's like, none of these are good for me. David turns up in New York City, gets arrested for
more drugs,
cocaine possession.
And what year is that?
Oh, that would have been 81, 82, somewhere in there.
That was when New York City was pretty rough and cocaine was ruling the streets.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that was cocaine cowboys, man.
We don't think about how bad New York used to be, but it used to be pretty scary bad.
Agreed.
And now it's pretty decent. It's nice. It's easy to get around there.
Well, not to go scary, so let's go ferry, like the New York ferry boat. Did I mention that David likes boats?
He's a boat person?
He's a boat guy. He had a transformative sailing experience at the age of 11. So, a couple years back, when he got some money, David bought himself a 59-foot John Alden designed schooner named Mayan.
So he's got a little sailing boat.
He got schooner. With his Byrds settlement money, because when they booted him from the Byrds, he's like, I'm going to sue you.
I'm gonna
get
buy
my
a boat."
writing credits and stuff. And so then he gets the boat.
So, sidebar.
Well, hold on. One last thing about the Mayan. David later reveals that Peter Tork of the Monkees loaned him the money to buy the boat. So,
Oh, so he was in with the Monkees too.
oh yeah.
Um,
Sidebar, boats.
sidebar boats. Found money. I'm gonna buy a boat story. So this dude that I know in my town, he helps in whatever. Just a dude I know in my town. I knew him for a while, and then after a few years, somebody else comes up. He's like, "Hey, you know how you know what his claim to fame is?" I'm like, no. Yeah, he was on that wife swap like 10 years ago.
What?
It's still on YouTube and stuff. You can look it up. And so I'm like, you're kidding me. And this dude's a pretty cool dude. He drives around some of the more recognizable vehicles. He's got a microbus that looks like the Scooby-Doo machine.
Wow.
And he's got an old Geo Tracker that's painted all goofy colors, almost like the Joker owns it. And it's got a scuba gear on there so he can take this little tiny Geo Tracker through puddles.
Nice.
So this guy was on, and as it's been told to me, so they go on wife swap. He goes down and lives with her. You know how wife swap, you get somebody else's wife and you try to live for a week.
Yeah.
And he was paired up with some rich folks,
Flavor Flav.
some proper people,
Oh.
and so they go through the whole entire deal, and then at the end of the show, I guess everybody gets some money. And so they asked the one family, like, oh, what are you going to do with that money? And they're like, oh, well, we're going to invest 10% of it in bonds, and then we're going to take this and put it into a 409c3 plan for our kids for college. And,
Good Lord.
we're going to take $10 of it and go out to McDonald's for the night. They asked Jamie, hey, what are you going to do with your money? I'm getting a boat. I'm going to get a motherfucking boat.
I'm buying a boat.
I'm going to get a boat. I'm going out boating. I'm going to get a boat. I bet you that boat's still in his yard, just sinking in up to the rims with mud.
When people have boats in their yards, why don't they do the weed whacking and the trimming around it? What's with that? Why you just let that go?
2 best days in a boat owner's life.
Day you buy it, the day you sell it.
That's right.
Boat stands for bust out another 1,000.
Bust out another 1,000.
Yeah,
You know what a boat is?
it's a hole in the water you throw money into.
All right, that's
Hey,
all the boat jokes.
Do we own boats? Yeah, I want a boat too. I
got
want
a
to get a
canoe.
pontoon.
I got a canoe. That's
My
good.
Tippy canoe and Ben too. Dave's partying down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, on his boat, and a group of vigilantes board.
Boats and hoes.
Yeah, well, these guys are looking for money and guns and drugs and stuff, right? These vigilantes storm his boat because he's in Puerto Vallarta, so it's not like he's got the Coast Guard protecting him.
Pirates.
Yeah,
I knew pirates are going to come up in this episode.
it's always a
Can't
pirate.
wait till we talk about cowboys.
I don't know if I can get there. I'll try. But they're looking. They're like, give us your guns and your money and your drugs. You're David Crosby. They don't have anything. Like,
They had drugs.
David didn't have anything. He's fresh out of rehab, like 6 different ones. He's I got nothing.
You just robbed the wrong David
We got
Crosby.
some- we got some
Should have had
tequila,
David
guys.
Crosby a month ago.
You wanted to catch me in June. This is that. So the vigilantes plant drugs on David's boat, and they call the cops.
Who kind of vigilantes are these?
They want the justice. So the cops show up. They see David and the drugs. I mean, this ain't David Crosby's first rodeo. So what's he do? He pays off the cops, and he keeps the drugs for himself.
He's back on the drugs.
Guess how much he paid off the cops for?
$5,000.
About $7 a piece.
Oh, no shit.
Yup. Because
So he's now waving at the vigilantes behind him going, thank you
yup.
for the drugs.
All good. David heads home to California. Thanks for the drugs, guys. That was about like $49. I appreciate it.
Best vacation ever.
Have a good one.
$1,000 of crack, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, for $49 downtown.
That's the deal. Not even $50. Less than $50. That's a good trip to Mexico. Mill Valley, California. David's busted.
For drugs again.
Oh, again. No, he hit a fence and then left the scene. They found him because there was a fence attached to his car. So he's caught and he's charged with hit and run. freebase paraphernalia, and possession of
Of Colt 45.
Colt 45.
I can dig that.
That's pretty cool. I have a Colt 45 beer sign around here somewhere. We should put that up in honor of David Crosby. If I ever meet him, I'm going to have him sign it. Colt 45. He won't get it, but it'll be funny to me.
He might get it.
1985, David's return to Texas on March 7th. He starts his time at Dallas County Jail.
Oh, he still had things he was...
Yeah, he was avoiding the warrant in Texas, which is why he was in California.
Yeah.
So
he's like, all right, here I am. Let's get her done.
He does a little time in solitary for bad behavior. They don't specify what, but...
I wonder if he just wanted to have some time alone.
He probably kicked somebody in the dick.
Kick him in the dick.
Yep, David Crosby. Wham!
Yeah, keep your dick
The
covered.
fuck away from me.
Cover your dick.
May 1st, David is free on bond and awaits appeal. In July that year, he plays Live Aid with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
That was a big thing.
That was a big thing. 2 concerts, 2 continents, 1 day.
With the old band.
There's a good podcast, How Stuff Works, on Live Aid that just came out. Well, it's going to be 2 months ago from now, but whatever. November, famous musician move. David misses court. He's a fugitive again.
Oh, wow, yeah, he probably was just drugged up.
Yeah, well, he was, and he needs money, and he's on the run. So he sells his baby grand piano, and he and Jan plan to sail to Costa Rica, where there's no U.S. extradition, and live out their days there.
What? He sold the baby grand. That's all he had left.
That's all he had, man. Sold everything else. Got
Holy
$5,000
cow.
for the baby grand piano, and him and Jan like, load up the boat, babe. Let's go.
And he's still with this Jan girl.
Oh yeah, him and Jan are. We'll get there.
All right.
Yeah, they're partners, not partners, but partners. They get to the boat. They go check out the Mayan. Right, they're at the dock. They're at the marina. She's old. She's not kept up well. She ain't gonna make it. So David turns himself into the FBI.
Just because his boat had a little bit of a tear in the sail?
It probably just a little leak, and the bilge pump wasn't turned on or something.
I mean,
so he's like, "Oh, there's water in it. We can't go."
Compared to Graham Nash, he's kind of a manly man, but that doesn't sound good. Get her going. Get the boat going. Take it out to sea. Start, scrubbing the deck.
What's Jan doing? Like, David's out playing shows. She could have been fixing the boat.
Keeping an eye on the boat. Maybe a new coat of turtle wax here and there.
You got $1,000 a day for blasting coke up your nose or smoking it or spooning it or whatever you do, and you can't fix your boat?
Yeah, come on.
Bust out another 1,000. It's right in the acronym. So David's denied release, bail, and he spends 3 months in Dallas County Jail, and then 5 months in the Huntsville, Texas prison.
Oh, so he's been that's a little bit of time.
He's worn the suits and sat in the cells and done the thing. So he's in general population when he was in there. He played in the prison band, and he worked at the prison mattress factory. Those quality prison mattresses. David made them.
Oh, good.
Due to good behavior and our favorite overcrowding, David is paroled in August 1986, and he's allowed to move back to California.
Well, it doesn't sound like it was that much time off.
Not a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, 85, 86, but he got 3 years?
What was he supposed to have, 3?
Yeah, so he was in for a year. It works out to be in like 9 months, honestly. But then there's the jail. That's prison time, the jail time. So probably call it about a year total.
I'm not all for giving people that are hooked on drugs a lot of jail time.
It's
Creates
not what
more
they're
problems.
there for, right?
I don't have a problem putting people in jail that are selling drugs.
No,
Stop doing that.
Distribution.
Yeah,
you're right.
but if you're just a user,
Nah.
I'm just a user.
I'm
I'm the victim here.
I'm a user. David got clean in prison. Oddly enough, didn't find any drugs there, and then so did Jan while she was on the outside.
Well, he didn't want butt drugs.
So that's true.
Yeah, because if you get some drugs in jail, probably came in an anus.
Prison wallet.
Yeah.
Oh God, not the prison wallet.
Have you ever pooped a balloon?
Ugh. The rubber stuck. The rubber stuck.
Hey, can you give me a hand here?
I'm gonna need you to pull. Wait till I push. 1987, David and Jan get married.
Finally tying the knot, making an honest woman out of
They
her.
have a baby.
A baby.
They keep it.
Good.
All right. In the 1990s, he donated his sperm to Melissa Etheridge. She had 2 babies.
Yeah. Why do I remember that?
I don't know, because it was
That's
a
like
thing.
all I came into with this entire David Crosby.
That's all you knew.
Melissa Etheridge. And then there's something with Rosie O'Donnell in this, too.
No. We do not get there.
No? Good.
Nope. I didn't see Rosie in there. But.
I thought somehow Rosie O'Donnell wants some of that sperm, too, or something.
It makes me not feel good.
No.
All right. You looking it up?
No.
Okay.
My motion alert just went off on my camera at home.
Check to see if people are stealing your packages.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I got you. No, so David too is distracted. He's not feeling very well. Things are bugging him. He's got some problems. And so in 1994, Phil Collins pays for David's liver transplant.
He had a liver transplant?
Had a liver transplant.
On the dime of Phil Collins.
Yep. Well, Phil offered. And then there's a little outrage because they're like, hey, man, I've been on the transplant list for longer than David Crosby, and look at what he does.
Well, apparently you're not friends with Phil Collins.
Well, you buddy up, somebody, Genesis.
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel at least get you, some corneas or something.
Yeah, Phil Collins is the drummer, Brian. You got to have a little soft spot in your heart for him, huh?
I explained this to my wife the other day. We do little road trips on the weekends out to places. We live near hell, so we'll drive to hell for lunch or something stupid. And anytime Phil Collins comes on the radio, I turn it instantly. And she finally was like, "Do you not like Phil Collins?" No, I don't like Phil Collins.
I liked him. See, when my uncle passed away, I was probably 10, 11, 12, something like that. Went over to his house. We buried him, did all that good stuff, and now we're cleaning out his house or whatever. And he just had reams of Phil Collins, all the Genesis tapes and all the Phil Collins stuff.
Wow.
So that was what I got to take home
Yep.
from my uncle's house. And a lot of those songs, I remember listening, because for a very short period of time, he needed a place to crash. He lived with us for a month or two.
Sure.
When I was a kid. So it was well after that, he got his house, got back on his feet. He had a terrible time with the diabetes.
Oh.
That was kind of what did him in at the end.
Gotcha.
So I had all these Phil Collins tapes, and I listened to them, man. So if I hear a Phil Collins song today, it's probably because I remember Uncle Mark.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Mark. I like Genesis. I don't like Phil Collins. As weird as that. That's what I was telling my wife on our trip. I'm like, I don't like. I'm a Peter Gabriel fan more than Phil Collins. I respect the drumming efforts, but it's not like he was an amazing drummer. I mean,
No, but he was still they had a lot of stuff they put out and made a lot of money.
They did.
They came out in the era of the MTV, which they took advantage of fully.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they made some good MTV stuff.
Very good videos. Look up Phil Collins and Genesis and Peter Gabriel, everybody. Well, it's talking about good videos and being famous and doing great in music. David Crosby gets inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame not once, but twice.
He gets in there twice?
He gets in there with the Byrds, and then he gets in there with CSN and Y.
Really? Okay. Well, so
So-
they inducted the bands in, and he was in both bands.
In both bands. March 7th, 2004, after checking out of the Doubletree Hotel in New York City, David left a suitcase behind accidentally.
With all of his drugs in it.
Ah, yeah. So, of course, you know what those maids do, right? They go through your stuff, guys. I'm just going to tell you right now. When you're not in the room, they go through your stuff. So, hotel staff looked through his stuff. They wanted to find ID, supposedly. You wouldn't take your ID with you.
Why do they need an ID?
Well, then they can figure out whose stuff it is and get it back to him, even though they're in the room with David Crosby. Whose is this?
Oh!
You know what I
I got
mean?
you. He checked. You said that. He checked out. And he left the bag behind full of drugs.
Sounds like you checked out.
No, I was thinking they go through your stuff. When you said they go through your stuff, I was thinking you leave the room for the day, they come in and clean it, and they go through your stuff.
Right, well, that too.
I don't know if they do that.
They might.
They might.
Anyway.
You
You're
ever
in
get-
David Crosby's room. Whose stuff did you think it was?
Did you ever get back from a vacation and develop your film and then get the pictures of all your toothbrushes up a big, up somebody's butt, and you're like, I just used those toothbrushes for last week.
It's only happened twice.
Sorry, bad. Right.
So they guess what the hotel staff finds in David's luggage?
Oh, drugs.
An ounce of weed, some rolling papers, 3 magazines full of 26 rounds of ammo, 2 hunting knives, and
The 44.
Colt 45.
Colt 45.
There you go.
It's a one better than the 44.
David pleads guilty to attempted criminal possession of a weapon, gets a $5,000 fine, and no jail time.
Didn't get nothing for the drugs?
They didn't go on the drugs and they didn't go harder on the gun charge because it was safely stored in his bag. He's a proper gun owner.
Mm-hmm.
So David is discharged by the court under the condition that he pay his fine and not get arrested again.
Stop doing that. How'd he do, Brian?
March 22nd, 2015. Jose Luquin and his 14-year-old son are jogging down Baseline Avenue. Right? They're just two guys running.
On the March 22nd?
March 22nd, 2015.
That's Scott's birthday.
Oh, shout out to Scott.
Yeah, dentist Scott.
Well, dentist Scott. He's probably a jogger, maybe. I don't know. He's a golfer.
He's an old man.
Is he fat and out of shape now?
No.
Damn it. We'll get you one day, buddy. Well, Jose and his son are jogging on Baseline Ave, right? They hear this car coming up from behind. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Bam!
Stephen King hit him.
Nah, well, Not Andrew Ridgely, not George Michael, not that Wham. And not Stephen King. Where did he come from?
He got hit by a car when he was out jogging.
Oh,
That's why I thought it'd be ironic.
that's a good revenge plot. No, Jose's hit by a black 2015 Tesla, and he's sent flying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said they could hear it, but I thought Teslas are supposed to be quiet. Like, like I don't know what a Tesla sounds
I don't
like.
know. I've seen them.
Guess who was driving the Tesla?
I already guessed Stephen King.
No, it's David. I thought that was a joke guess. David hits Jose. Jose has a broken leg, a broken arm, a broken shoulder, broken ribs, damaged kidney.
I got two kidneys. My kids have 4.
That's a lot of kidneys. I'm fixing technical issues so Ben doesn't freak out on us.
I'm about to freaking out over here.
Freaking out over here, man. Well, that's what David was freaking out because, again, broken up, damaged kidney, him and
So
Jose
who
have that
hit
in
him?
common. Who's the show about, Ben?
David Crosby. I
David
thought he was with his kid.
No, that's Jose. Do I have to do this one again?
No. So there's 2 people running.
Jose and his kid.
Who's Jose?
Just a jogger.
And who's his kid?
Just Jose's kid.
So David Crosby hits some people.
Yeah, basically where we're at.
He doesn't know these people from nobody.
No, I just
Oh,
happen to
okay.
know their names because,
All right.
the internet nowadays.
I'm not paying attention.
No,
I checked. No.
Here, let's go through this part again.
No, we're not going through this part again. 2 people are going down the road. David Crosby fucking comes up in a Tesla and nails him.
Right.
Okay. Summary. Go.
Well, okay. You
Does
heard
it-
about Jose, but Jose cracked David's windshield, broke the right side mirror, dented the rear right door, cracked the right front bumper, and dented the right front fender of David's Tesla.
All with his body.
All with his body.
What a dick.
Guy's an
Those
a-hole.
Teslas are expensive.
Those are hard to pay for.
You gotta wait for them. They
right.
take forever to
like
get
there's
delivered.
an order list.
Yeah.
You never seen a Tesla commercial ever. Isn't that amazing? No, there aren't any.
I don't watch. I haven't seen a lot of commercials. I don't have a TV.
There aren't Tesla commercials. Is what I'm telling you. People know about them, and you just order it off the internet.
On the internets, man. It's almost the wave of the future.
Crazy. What's his name there? Elon Musk is going to wrap the Earth in satellites so everyone has free internet.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
About 2020 or something like that. David told the CHP officer Ponch that he, in fact, had not been drinking that day, but rather he was blinded by the light. The sun was coming up.
A Manford Man reference there, Brian.
Yeah, David was revved up like a diesel and blasted into Jose and his kid. Officer took David at his word, didn't test him for drugs or alcohol on the scene. Yeah, you're good.
It's only David Crosby.
Jose sues David because he's like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure you're on some type of drug, and I'm going to win some money out of this.
And either way, you hit me.
David settles for
$100,000.
$2.95 million.
Okay, it's more than $100,000.
And then Jose's kid gets $50K because he saw it all.
He saw it happen.
Just shh, don't say. So yeah, David gives out about $3 million to the joggers for running over him, and that's that.
That's a productive day of jogging right there.
That's worth it. Like
Yeah.
all the time you woke up and the
Yep.
shoes you went through and the little tiny short shorts and
Yep.
the whole thing. So all for $3 million.
Yep, I'll take it. I'd do
Yep.
that.
Now remember the adopted baby, James Raymond?
Yeah.
He reunites with his dad in 1997 because he plays keyboards and he's the son of David Crosby, so he can just naturally sing really well. And they perform in the group CPR.
Wow.
Crosby, Jeff Purvar.
That was his name?
It's Raymond. No, his name is James Raymond, but they got some guy named Prevar to play guitar or something.
Okay.
And then also this dude James, the adopted baby, he sits in with Crosby, Stills, and Nash a couple times, doing
Oh.
shows and stuff.
All right.
So David kind of brings him into the family.
That's nice. That's nice. That's a bit of a redemption story for the old man here.
Yep. Well, and then now we're back on the upswing. 2018, David has got his new thing. He's selling weed.
Legally.
Yeah, the Mighty Croz, it's called, the cannabis brand. That's why I told you Croz at the beginning. I didn't know if you'd know.
Oh,
Croz.
yeah, because I'm so deep in the streets with the weed.
He's also a political activist. He has been for years. He's a pacifist who defends gun rights.
That makes total sense.
He's done NRA things, and he's done Second Amendment rallies and pacifist rallies and stuff like that. He's done some acting.
And what?
He was in Roseanne, the TV show. He was in the John Larroquette show. He starred in Backdraft the movie.
Backdraft the movie?
Yeah.
Huh.
And he was in The Simpsons twice because we played that clip, and he plays himself.
Was he in one of the last 2 seasons of The Simpsons? Roseanne?
No, I don't think he's in the reboot. No.
No, not the reboot. The last
when
they won the lotto?
No, I honestly think it was before that because he was just in that bar they used to hang out at, the Boar's Nest or whatever. No, what was it called?
In Roseanne, there was a bar?
I thought so. They hung out at it all the time.
No, they had a living room, a kitchen, and later on a garage.
No, they hung out in a bar because Aunt Jackie worked there, and they would go hang out there. It must have been like 5 seasons in or so. Anyway, David Crosby was there, just played himself as some stupid drunk hippie.
No, but the Roseanne, I grew up watching. I mean, it was on. It wasn't like I waited for it, but we watched it.
So you loved Roseanne, is what
I loved her so much. But the last 2 seasons. Oh, there's that one season where the daughter got switched for a different actress.
Yes.
That was weird.
Who is that?
They just like, no, everything's fine. Don't even acknowledge any difference. But then the last 2 seasons, like the second to last season, and they won the lotto.
Yes.
And so you went through 2 seasons. I mean, 30-some episodes probably. And they're rich. They got money.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
You're going to spoil it, aren't you? Spoilers for Roseanne, everybody.
Spoilers.
So skip ahead about 2 minutes if you don't want to hear this part.
If you haven't gotten around to that on the Netflix yet, the last episode, Roseanne at that show wakes up in her bed. They never won the lotto.
Oh, she doesn't wake up in her bed. She wrote a book. That's how it ended. She was writing a book after Dan died. She was like, oh no, and she's the stay-at-home mother who writes a book and then sells it and becomes an author.
So that the last 2 seasons were her
book.
her book?
Yeah, her fantasy
that
book.
That was dumb.
Is it any worse than
No,
freaking...
don't even bring it up. I'm going to punch you in the face.
Cover my dick.
Newhart was awesome.
It was a dream.
It was a dream, but the whole thing was a dream, and it was a big... That was one big callback to his prior TV show.
That is funny. That's meta before meta even existed.
But they got so weird in the last few seasons of Newhart anyways. It was perfect.
Well, let's get out of David Crosby because this is my last card, and it's my quote card. It says, quote, I'm having so much fun performing, I almost feel guilty. I think, my God, I hope no one comes and busts me. David Crosby.
Was that before he got busted 1 billion times?
Yeah. Sitting cross-legged on the floor.
That's
David Crosby.
Crack pipes falling off the amps.
Yeah, if you guys have ideas to how to keep the crack pipes from falling off your amps, like a pipe buddy or like a crack, like a I don't know,
make your
pipe holder or something.
Make your crack pipes like with, how pencils aren't usually round.
They're the octagonal, so they
don't roll so easy. Yeah. Or make a square crack pipe.
You need a flat, right?
Yeah.
You need a flat.
Or a nice fancy like little pewter stand.
Well, let's get out of this conversation and let's talk about some feedback. All right, we're done with that. We got a speak pipe, dude.
Oh, I like speak.
We got a speak pipe. So this one came through from Anonymous.
Anonymous. Oh, the group Anonymous?
No, not the group. I hope it's not. It might be. I don't know. You don't know.
Hey, yeah.
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. But when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
There you go. That's our speak pipe from Anonymous.
Yay, Anonymous.
That was awesome. I like that. We'll give you some crowd clap there.
That was nearly a William Shatner version of that, wasn't it?
I appreciate that. If you want to be like Anonymous, go to our website, crimeandmusic.com. Leave a speak pipe.
Be our new best friends.
That'd be awesome. We'll play at the end of the episode like we do with these guys.
Yeah, that's funny. Anonymous. That's just exactly what we wanted, isn't it, Brian?
Yes, it is exactly what we wanted.
We don't want to have any context.
No.
It stands on its own.
That was a perfectly good soliloquy or poem, just as it was.
It's the spoken word of Sir Mix-a-Lot song.
the recitation of Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Lay Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I love it. All right, guys, that brings us to the end. I do want to put a shout out there to our Patreon sponsor, Todd. Thanks, buddy. If you want to go to sponsor us too,
Todd.
Patreon.com/crimeandmusic. For everything else, social media, Instagram, Twitter, crimeandmusic.com. Go there and check it out.
Where's Scott at?
There is no Scott. There is only a Todd.
Well, about time for
two Patreons.
Scott to get his butt in gear.
We could use those at any point in time. Check us out next week. We'll be back with another amazing story of music and crime. Like the song says, never trust a big butt and a smile.
I gotta go squirt.